Being named the #1 overall recruit in your class is bound to engulf you in flames consisting of excess media attention, tremendous pressure, and unrealistic expectations that no one can fulfill. We have seen 2013 #1 overall recruit Robert Nkemdiche crash and burn as soon as he reached the NFL. We have seen others such as 2011 #1 recruit Jadeveon Clowney turn in a successful NFL career to this point with 3 Pro Bowl appearances and 32 sacks over 6 seasons. Others, such as Kevin Jones, were able to reach the NFL, but were plagued with injuries that prevented them from taking off professionally. Regardless, it is interesting to investigate how these athletes were able to deal with the stigma that surrounds the top recruit in their respective class. Today, we're going to take a look at the #1 overall recruits from the 2000s and where they are now. Before we get into this video, listen to this quick announcement. Are you an athlete in need of a highlight tape? Do you have clips but don't know how to mix them? SC Highlights is the place for you. Follow our Instagram at SC Highlights and send us a DM asking for a tape. We usually charge $20 to $30 per video, but use the promo code SZVideo to get a highlight for 50% off. Don't miss this opportunity to have a great glowing tape to post and share with friends. We'll start off in the 2000 class, where we have superstar DJ Williams, the linebacker and running back from Concord, California. Williams was physically imposing on both sides of the ball at De La Salle High School as he recorded 87 solo tackles and 6 sacks his senior year and finished with 1,974 rushing yards and 33 rushing touchdowns at tailback. He was a part of the same De La Salle team coached by Bob Ladouceur that won 151 straight games from 1991 to 2004. Ladouceur, the winningest coach in high school football history, was the main feature in the 2014 film When the Game Stands Tall. DJ was named Parade Magazine's National High School Player of the Year and USA Today's Defensive Player of the Year after an outstanding senior season. His unofficial 40-yard dash coming out of high school was run in 4.45 seconds. In other words, this dude was different. Interestingly, Williams did not like all the media attention he received. Was seen as more of a soft-spoken guy. He decided to attend Miami over Florida State and California. DJ originally started off as a fullback at Miami, as he finished with 142 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. The following year, DJ was switched back over to linebacker, where he would find his most success. Many of you Hurricanes fans probably remember his crucial forced fumble against Nebraska in the Rose Bowl during his sophomore season. Williams was a part of the Miami Hurricanes team that featured Sean Taylor, Clinton Portis, and Andre Johnson. During his senior year, he emerged as one of the best players in the country as he finished the season with 44 solo tackles and 6 sacks and was named a Butkus semifinalist. He was named first team Big East as Miami was in the Big East from 1995 to 2003. His successful high school and collegiate career led to Williams being selected as the 17th overall pick in the 2004 draft by the Broncos. Williams made an immediate impact as a rookie as he accumulated 82 solo tackles and 2 sacks. He continued to have success with the Broncos, but also dealt with some off-the-field issues that included a drunk driving arrest in 2005. He accumulated his second DUI in 2010 and was suspended after failing a drug test in 2012 after suspected use of performance-enhancing drugs. During his suspension, he also tweeted out the Broncos playbook. His miscues led to his eventual release and was then picked up by the Bears in 2013. Williams appeared to be a solid replacement for Urlacher, who had recently retired earlier that year, but a ruptured pectoral tendon and then a neck injury the following year effectively ended his career. Williams finished his time in the NFL with 676 total tackles and 22.5 sacks. Although he never made it to the Pro Bowl, he was able to produce strong numbers and helped his team out defensively. While I don't know much about him, I'm sure the DUIs and his other miscues were results of the stress and pressure he has experienced throughout most of his life. I'm sure it isn't easy being expected to do so much, and it's even worse when things don't work out. He currently runs a clothing line called Dime Life that specializes in selling Hurricanes apparel and has over 56,000 followers on Instagram. In the class of 2001, we have running back Kevin Jones from Springfield, Pennsylvania. Jones received a strict training regimen imposed by his father that created a highly conditioned athlete from the age of 12. The workout lasted 2 hours a day and often 7 days a week. These workouts with his father would continue for him even once he was in college. He impressed everyone while at Cardinal O'Hara High School, on the gridiron as well as on the track, rushing for 5,878 yards and 84 touchdowns throughout his career. On the track, his personal best in the 100-meter dash was 10.59 seconds, and he jumped 14.57 meters in the triple jump. He won the first ever high school Heisman Award for the Northeast region in 2001 and was widely seen as the best player in the country. He surprisingly decided to attend Virginia Tech over Pennsylvania's own Penn State. He made this decision as he stated he has always been a little contrary. Jones was the first recruit to reveal his commitment using props, a tradition we now see on a yearly basis. While in Blacksburg, Jones won the starting job after an injury to Lee Suggs. He finished his freshman season with 957 yards and 5 touchdowns. During his sophomore year, Suggs and Jones were nicknamed the Untouchables because no one could catch up to the star running backs. Once Suggs left for the draft in 2003, Jones was the primary running back and had his best season of his career. He finished with 1,647 yards and 21 touchdowns, averaging 5.86 yards per carry. He was selected 30th overall by the Detroit Lions in the 2004 NFL Draft, and he started his career off on the right foot, as he finished with 1,113 yards his rookie season. That would be the last time he rushed for 1,000 yards, as he was plagued with injury issues, including a fractured foot and torn ligaments in his right knee that eventually led to his release in 2007. He was signed by the Bears in 2008 and was demoted to the backup role behind Matt Forte. He was out for the rest of the season after he tore ligaments in his left ankle and was released by the Bears. He finished his NFL career with 3,176 yards and 24 touchdowns after 5 seasons. He signed with the Hartford Colonials of the United Football League, but unfortunately injured himself yet again and decided to retire entirely from football. Jones has had an interesting career after football. He returned to Virginia Tech and graduated with a bachelor's degree in industrial design in 2014. He then joined a Switzerland racing yacht team and was in the position of grinder. He spent time as an assistant to the athletic director at VT and co-founded the design firm Joba Design. In the class of 2002, we have the incredibly talented Vince Young from Houston, Texas. I mean, I can tell you, when I was growing up watching him play, he was one of my favorite college football players. Young grew up in the Hiram Clark neighborhood that has seen its fair share of gang violence. His mother and grandmother made sure he would steer clear from any involvement and helped lead him on a path towards a better life. When he was 7, he was involved in a bike accident that nearly killed him as the bike handle impaled his stomach after he was hit by a car. With an absent father in and out of prison, his uncle helped him unleash his athletic potential as he coached Vince's AAU basketball team. Young was outstanding during his time at Madison High School. Once he took over the starting job as a sophomore, Young exploded onto the high school football scene. He amassed 12,987 total yards throughout his career, along with being named Parade's National Player of the Year, and was widely seen as the best college football prospect in the country. He was invited to the Steve McNair camp and developed a strong relationship with the former NFL quarterback, who provided guidance for the high schooler. During his senior year, he finished with nearly 4,000 yards and 59 touchdowns. He led Madison High School to a 61-58 victory over undefeated North Shore in the 5A regionals, accounting for more than 400 yards and 5 total touchdowns in what some believe as one of the greatest Texas high school football games of all time. Ranked number 1 nationally overall, the dual-threat high school quarterback was the only quarterback to have a perfect 247 composite rating out of high school. Once his career had kicked off, he had dreamt of playing for Texas under Mack Brown, and as soon as he got that offer, he accepted it. He was a standout basketball player as well, as he would start for the mighty Madison Marlins all 4 years and averaged 25 points per game during that time. He redshirted his first season, giving him time to learn from senior quarterback Chris Sims. Mack Brown failed several times to fix Young's throwing motion and nearly switched him to receiver. Vince quickly became flustered, but had a conversation with Brown that allowed him to stay at quarterback. As a redshirt sophomore, Young worked out of the shotgun read option system that allowed him more time to make his reads. He struggled to start the season, but eventually got things going as he led Texas to an 11-1 record that ended in a Rose Bowl victory over Michigan. In the Rose Bowl, he finished with 372 total yards and ran for 4 total touchdowns. This dude went off. He finished that season with 3,000 total yards and 26 touchdowns, including 14 from the ground. During his redshirt junior season, Young flourished with the Longhorns as he stepped up as a clear leader of the team. Freshman running back Jamal Charles helped complement Young's athletic ability. Texas went on to win 12 straight games, including a 70-3 victory over Colorado in the Big 12 championship. The 2005 season capped off in historic fashion as Vince Young and the Texas Longhorns faced off against the USC Trojans, led by head coach Pete Carroll and running back Reggie Bush, in arguably the greatest college football game of all time. Texas hadn't won a national championship in over 20 years and was going up against a team with 2 Heisman winners on the roster. Young reached the height of his collegiate career during the Rose Bowl as he finished with 467 total yards of offense and 3 rushing touchdowns, including the infamous game-winning 9-yard touchdown on 4th down with just 19 seconds remaining that cemented his status as a college football legend. He finished that season with 36 total touchdowns. He was awarded the Davey O'Brien Trophy, given to the best quarterback in the nation, and was the Heisman runner-up as Reggie Bush took home the trophy. Young left his mark at Texas, becoming one of the greatest college football players of all time. Following his collegiate career, he was selected 3rd overall by the Tennessee Titans in the 2006 NFL Draft. The Titans pushed out McNair and were ready for Young to take the reins. After a 2-7 start to his season, VY turned the team around as he led them to a record of 8-8 that included some dramatic comebacks during that season. He finished his rookie season with 19 touchdowns and over 2,700 total yards. He was named the Offensive Rookie of the Year and was named to the Pro Bowl in what appears to be his best season as a starter. Young led the Titans to a 10-6 record the following year, but showed flaws in his game as he threw 17 interceptions. In 2008, he struggled to begin the season and suffered an MCL sprain that led to him being benched for the rest of the season in favor of Kerry Collins. Around this time, he went missing as he struggled to deal with the hatred he felt from fans, and his benching led him nearly to retire. Young's career took a turn for the worse as he struggled to deal with the death of his mentor and father-like figure, Steve McNair, in 2009. He was able to get himself back on track as he took back the starting role during Week 6 the following year. He improved his game and played with more maturity after spending time on the bench. He suffered an injury in his thumb, and after an altercation with head coach Jeff Fisher, he was released by the Titans after posting 42 touchdowns and 42 interceptions. Young spent time with the Eagles, Bills, Packers, and Browns before making the move to Canadian football. He was signed to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but his career never took off as he tore his hamstring and eventually retired. After officially retiring from football, the people he had trusted to handle his finances failed him as he had to file for bankruptcy in 2014. He was arrested for 2 DUIs, but eventually was able to get back on the path of being sober and a strong individual. Unfortunately for Young, the trauma he experienced as a child affected his psychological well-being, but he now appears to be on the right path. In the 2003 class, we have linebacker Ernie Sims from Tallahassee, Florida. Sims was born into an athletic family as his mother, Alice Sims, was an All-American sprinter on the Florida State track team, and his father played running back for the Seminoles. Sims was a different breed as he began playing football for North Florida Christian High School in 8th grade. He ran the show as he excelled at both running back and linebacker. The Eagles won 4 Class A state championships during his 5 seasons spent there. During his junior year, he finished with 180 tackles, 41 tackles for a loss, and 12 sacks. During his senior year, he finished with 133 tackles, 6 forced fumbles, and on the offensive side ran for 1,081 yards and 23 touchdowns. He is just one of 5 recruits to receive a perfect rating from 247 Sports and was faced with high expectations heading into college. He was seen as a ferocious linebacker who could deliver powerful hits, so powerful in fact that he even sent someone to the hospital. He decided to attend Florida State over Florida, where he spent time on special teams before becoming a starter as a sophomore. He finished his 2004 season with 86 tackles and 4.5 sacks and was named a part of ESPN's All-American First Team. His 2005 season got off to a rough start as he was arrested for resisting an officer. He did not live up to his numbers from the previous year, but was still a force on an FSU team that finished 8-5. He was selected with the 9th overall pick by the Detroit Lions in the 2006 NFL Draft. He recorded over 100 tackles in his first 3 seasons and was productive while in Detroit. He was surprisingly traded to the Eagles in 2010, where he posted a career high in sacks and pass deflections, as he finished with 2 and 5 respectively. He spent time with the Colts and Cowboys, but would never start a linebacker again. He retired in 2014 and began a career in coaching. He first started off as an assistant strength and conditioning intern at FAU on Lane Kiffin's coaching staff. He was promoted to Director of Player Development in 2019 and has now accepted a position to join the University of South Florida. Although his NFL career got off to a strong start, he was unable to continue his success, which could be attributed to a shoulder injury he suffered with the Lions in 2009. And in the 2004 class, we have running back Adrian Peterson from Palestine, Texas. AP was born into an athletic family. His mother was a star on the track, as she attended the University of Houston on a scholarship, and his father was a shooting guard at the University of Idaho State, but his career ended early after a gun misfired and injured his leg. Pearson witnessed the death of his role model and older brother, Brian, who was killed by a drunk driver while out on a bike ride. He directed his pain through football, where his father coached his youth team. After his father ended up in jail for laundering money, Adrian looked to his mother as his new role model. He started his high school career in Westwood before transferring to Palestine High, where he would not be eligible to play until his junior year. Just like his mother, Adrian Peterson was a star sprinter and long jumper. He recorded a 10.26 second 100-meter dash his junior year, just 0.04 off Justin Gatlin's 2003 NCAA championship winning time. He had a productive junior and senior season on the gridiron as he accumulated nearly 5,000 yards and 52 touchdowns. During his final game at Palestine, he rushed for 350 yards and 6 touchdowns in the first half. I mean, come on, that's unbelievable. Coming from a small town in Texas, he not only became a phenom in Palestine, but also on the national stage. He was named the best high school player by Sporting News and Rivals.com, and recruiters stated that he was like a Greek god, and his physicality and athleticism was unrivaled. He committed to Oklahoma during the U.S. Army All-American Bowl.
Lieutenant, University of Oklahoma.
Oklahoma Sooners. Mom, how do you feel about that? You happy with that?
Yes, I'm happy. I'm just glad for it all to be over.
When he first arrived in Norman, he reportedly ran a 4.2 40-yard dash in front of Bob Stoops and the coaching staff. He would finish his true freshman season with 1,925 yards and 15 touchdowns. He was the 2004 Heisman runner-up behind Matt Leinart and was named a first-team All-American, becoming the first freshman Sooner to do so. After Maurice Claret failed to declare early for the NFL draft, there was much debate that Adrian Peterson would be more than ready to enter the NFL if he was able to declare. In 2005, a high ankle sprain prevented him from matching his numbers the previous year, as he finished with just 1,104 rushing yards, as the Sooners finished a disappointing 8-4. Peterson played in just 7 games his junior year, as he broke his collarbone against Iowa State. Although his injuries prevented him from reaching his full potential in college, he was still valued as a top prospect, was selected 7th overall by the Minnesota Vikings in the 2007 NFL Draft. He made an immediate impact in the NFL as he rushed for 4,484 yards and 40 touchdowns and was named to 2 first-team All-Pro teams in his first 3 years. He won the NFL Rookie of the Year award in 2007. In 2012, he reached his career high in rushing yards with 2,097 and finished with 12 touchdowns after tearing his ACL and MCL the year before. He was awarded the 2012 NFL MVP after his terrific season, and it appeared nothing could stop this guy, or so it seemed. In 2014, he was indicted for reckless injury to his child, and his 2014 season was effectively over. He was able to avoid a jail sentence as he reached a plea deal and was able to get back into the NFL, having a strong 2015 season with the Vikings before becoming a free agent and spending time with the Cardinals and Saints, before settling down with the Redskins, where he has found recent success. At 35 years old, it appears his NFL career is winding down, but will, without a doubt, retire with a highly successful career. He currently has rushed for 14,216 yards and 111 touchdowns, and has been selected to 7 Pro Bowls. Although he has faced backlash due to his treatment towards his son, he is seen as one of the greatest high school football players of all time. He was dominant with the Sooners when he was healthy, and he made his mark as one of the best players in the league during his time with the Vikings. This concludes part 1 of our part 2 series. Let us know how we did in the comments below, and be sure to comment any video ideas you have. Which player do you believe had the most successful football career? Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.